Gege Akutami has just made one of his greatest chapters yet, and it just may lead to the ultimate destruction and the breakdown of the demon Ryomon Sukuna. Yuji has seemed to come to an epiphany of sorts, and now he has the resolve, the power, and the determination to stop Sukuna's wrath. This chapter was quite a change in pace compared to other Shinjuku chapters. However, this without a doubt was some of Akutami's best work, and it was a shining example of how unique his writing style is when it comes to Itadori. See, many may look at this chapter and think, "Yap fest!" Or it's like, here we go, another talk no jutsu kind of thing, which is how Naruto dealt with a lot of his villains with drawn out speeches and heartfelt moments of understanding. And that itself actually has nothing wrong with it, and it's powerful in meaning, but with what Yuji expresses in this chapter, it's more like an exposition on why Yuji is the way that he is. Yuji explains himself, his past, his role, and why he decided to change his role as a cog after his experiences as a sorcerer. But what he offers Sukuna is a chance to live inside of Itadori and free Megumi, otherwise Yuji will kill Sukuna. Yuji hates Sukuna and cannot redeem him, unlike maybe a similar situation with, of course, Naruto and Kurama. Sukuna will never be anyone's ally. He will never be forgiven, and Sukuna himself will never change. But Yuji decided to connect with Sukuna as a human and give Sukuna a choice to avoid destruction. However, before breaking down what may happen, let's consider the themes that this chapter left with us, because there are a lot of gems that this chapter points out. Neither Yuji or Sukuna actually know what this situation that they're in is as they walk through Yuji's memories. It could be a part of a domain expansion or a binding vow involving cursed energy and the innate domain of an inner mindscape, but nothing is confirmed. I think given how this situation is Yuji's doing and now it's on his terms, this is like a sort of soul resonance, because even Sukuna is like a reflection of Yuji's form instead of being reincarnated in Megumi. This entire chapter is actually kind of odd because it shows Yuji talking about really odd memories of his childhood and his hometown, and really a lot of it is just Yuji rambling on about his memories that don't necessarily matter. His grandpa Wasuke raised Yuji after whatever happened between Jin and Kaori, aka Kenjaku, and for the most part, Yuji lived like an ordinary boy in an ordinary town. But as Yuji reflects on his past, there is actually a point and a meaning to it. The town changed since he was a kid, the parks are abandoned and the equipment is gone. The mom and pop stores are all closed down because of big retail facilities in the area. It's like the town is quiet. However, none of that came as a surprise to Yuji because that's how things happen with time and growing older. Yuji actually started to appreciate his grandpa more as he thought back on how he took care of him. But what surprised me the most is how Sukuna responds to all of this useless drivel. Even when talking about flowers, yes, even flowers, Sukuna had some knowledge and corrected Yuji on what actual species they were. Although he makes an excuse that he knows it from Megumi's memories, he still has to read through each vessel's memory, so I guess he thought it was worth his time to remember a flower name. It's kind of odd for the King of Curses, but Sukuna also funnily catches crawfish with Yuji and indulges him by proving his prowess at archery. They're bickering, and Yuji and Sukuna's relationship truly is like a family. Like, bro, Sukuna really is like the uncle and Yuji's the little nephew. But Sukuna also has hobbies that he does. He's not like an animal. Sukuna recognizes culture and religion. He's an archer from the Heian era. He's into flowers apparently, and he may even be a poet for how he knows about proper haiku form. It's some pretty interesting stuff, but all of that, all of his aspects of humanity is completely overshadowed by Sukuna's overwhelming sense of self that makes Sukuna a literal monster. As you can imagine, Sukuna just about had enough of Yuji's useless backstory, and honestly, he finds it disgusting for a person like himself. Sukuna actually eats people. He kills people for pleasure. So seeing Yuji ramble on about his useless, ordinary life might as well be like torture for Sukuna, because Sukuna simply does not care at all. Then we get the actual point of the chapter as Yuji reflects on both the people that he has lost and his obstacles in his life that were in his way, like Mahito and Sukuna. Yuji is changing his mindset. Before, he thought that he should fulfill his role in life. Like Todo said, what has he been entrusted with? And Yuji chose to be a cog, that is his role, to keep killing curses. Even before, previously in the series, he wanted others to lead proper deaths. But now he found that that type of thinking is not quite right. Whatever your role in life is, even when in your life, there is no particular value or meaning. Instead of those life experiences or memories giving your life form, the small fragments of those memories that are out there floating around is where the true value of life lies. It was never about the quote-unquote proper death or the ways that people died. However, Yuji could never forgive those who act like life has no such value in the first place, and also disregard other people's value. Mahito and Sukuna are the prime examples because Mahito literally played with life with his curse technique, and his ideals surround the idea that life has no value. It's just like a river that just ebbs and flows away. So whatever you want to do in life, you can do it, whatever it is. If you want to eat, you eat. If you want to kill someone, kill. Similarly, Sukuna has the same mindset to live by his own desires and nothing else. Humans are not born into any sort of mold or role like a tool. They can choose to be whatever they want to be. Yuji himself can't even say if humans are fundamentally good or evil, which is why he could also be wrong even now. But in Yuji's heart, he wanted to convey to Sukuna the humanity of someone other than himself. Essentially, all those meaningless moments in Yuji's life were Yuji's value. But still, Sukuna is unmoved by his actions and his words. Sukuna understands everything that he's told him so far. However, Sukuna feels nothing toward any of it. Absolutely nothing. Yuji has now found out that he has failed to convince Sukuna. However, at first, Sukuna calls it cowardice that all of Yuji's anger and hatred amounted to such a meaningless walk down memory lane. But then he realized Yuji is actually taking pity on Sukuna. Yuji has literally crossed the line, and in a way, Sukuna is reminded of a bodhisattva, in particular Avalokitesvara, the embodiment of virtue and compassion. His name means Lord who looks down with compassion, which hints to why Yuji in a sense has a higher sense of self and a mightier sense of being and looks down or pities on Sukuna. We then get possibly the coldest panel in the entire series as Yuji confirms that yes, I can kill you, Sukuna. Release Fushiguro, return to my body, and I'll spare your life. And for the first time, we actually see Sukuna furious with rage. A brat like Yuji must really piss Sukuna off. It's not enough to simply kill Itadori, no. He has to kill each and every human that Yuji finds value in. Sukuna desires to break Yuji's invincible spirit. This is incredible. At this point in the story, Sukuna is seriously weakened. However, now that he has regained his reverse curse technique and his 2 remaining arms, Sukuna is still on a whole other level as a threat. But now, supposedly with a domain expansion, Yuji may yet reach that same level. Yuji has the power to kill Sukuna. And now I think he's going to use the lethality of his domain to defeat Sukuna in combat. Yuji is also the sorcerer's best shot at freeing Megami as well because he can strip away Sukuna from Megami's soul using Dismantle, and in my opinion that Dismantle will likely be the sure hit of whatever domain expansion this may become. So this is it, my brothers and sisters. This may be the beginning of the end of Shinjuku Showdown. It all culminates to Yuji and his answer to Sukuna's malevolence. Things have reached a point where no one else could be of any any greater narrative importance than Yuji and Sukuna right now. All the other sorcerers might still have some fight left in them, but down to the wire, everyone used up their options. Gojo fought Sukuna twice over already. They used Jacob's ladder twice. Everyone is just exhausted. Hikari is still fighting Uraume to this day, and I'm so curious how Gege will ever make that fight relevant compared to all that is happening right now. Yuji is going to be the one to take down Sukuna, and even if what Sukuna says about massacring all his friends is true, I think it's too late in the game for Yuji to relapse about his resolve, because no matter what happens, no sorcerer is truly defeated until they give up. And Yuji cannot give in to Sukuna or let Sukuna break him in any possible way. Now there is still a lot of content to explore before it's all said and done, so the situation probably has to work itself out to where Sukuna will use the merger event and create about a change in the Jujutsu world, or Sukuna would find a way to just barely survive until the point where Yuji completely surpasses even Sukuna's own spirit. But regardless, I have a very strong feeling that next chapter will be a straight Yuji Kaisen beatdown, with both Yuji and Sukuna giving it their all to see which one of their truths will prevail: the instincts of a curse or the so-called dignity obtained by human reason.